Hello, everybody.
Howdy, back again.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
Yes. We're going to start by reading from the Watchtower, June 1st, 1997. Page 6, second column, first paragraph. True religion in no way practices secretiveness. Worshippers of the true God have been instructed not to hide their identity or to obscure their purpose as Jehovah's Witnesses. Now we're going to stop there and get into the meat of our material, and then at the end I want to read portions of two more paragraphs and kind of throw this in Watchtower's face. So if you boys in Brooklyn are listening, you might want to stay until the end.
Well, they're not going to like this one because this is a public service announcement warning people of what they're doing. Okay, now these elders' letters were a little bit late getting to us, but better late than never. Okay, on April 17th, 2016, they sent out an elders' letter to selected bodies of elders in the United States branch territory. Arrangements for electronic donations to local congregations. Dear brothers, in recent years, an increasing number of publishers contributed using credit cards at regional conventions, at assembly halls, and on the jw.org website. Many publishers and bodies of elders have asked if there could be a provision to make electronic donations to local congregations.
Wait a minute. Wasn't there a Watchtower not too terribly long ago where they were condemning other religions for electronically accepting donations?
Well, that was old light. They have new light now.
Oh, okay.
The Holy
okay.
Spirit told them, get ATMs.
Holy Spirit, don't ever deny it, right?
Yeah.
Watchtower doesn't.
Yeah. Now, first, before I go on, I just have to question, why can't they use the same setup for the local congregations that they do for jw.org? The same server and everything. Okay? Going on. If your body of elders would like to accept electronic donations into your congregation bank account, there is now an arrangement for this using the website khdonate.net, which was developed and will be managed independently by a vendor. Okay, now it goes on to talk about how this is going to be deposited directly into the congregation bank account. Okay, so this was on April 17th. 2016. The very next day, they sent out another elder's letter, which is almost exactly like this one, except instead of saying will be managed independently by a vendor, it now says, by means of khdonate.net, a website designed and managed by a vendor, you can now use your credit or debit card to donate to your local congregation. So they changed it. It's not managed independently by a vendor. Now, Deep Throat, thank you, sweetie, has sent some information that I don't know where he gets this stuff, but he sent this. And it says that apparently the president of this company that is going to be processing, the vendor.
The vendor.
His name is Donald Ladwig, Ladwig, in California, and he's the president of iVertical Incorporated. And they're the ones that are going to be processing this and managing this, apparently. Now, on this forum where Deep Throat found this, it says that this Donald Ladwig was a very nice guy who was in Bethel Computer Department with his wife, also very nice, back in the 80s. He has a development and consulting company now, but is heavily involved with tech projects for the branch as a remote Bethel volunteer. And apparently he's the one that built this software and website for this. Okay.
Wait, he used to be the IT guy at Bethel? I wonder if Johnny the Bethelite knows him. Hey, maybe somebody ought to ask that question next week of Johnny the Bethelite. Yeah, right.
Okay, so, sorry, we got a lot of paperwork here and a lot of stuff to go through. Instructions for accepting debit and credit card donations. There was actually 13 pages in with these elders' letters. Setting up your website account. Set up your account with the vendor. And then you go to khdonate.net. And then when, let's see, they have frequently asked questions, which we'll get into that in just a minute. But when you go to the khdonate.net and you pull it up, and it says, let's set up your personal account. Now, I can do a little bit of snooping, but when you take that domain name, that website, and you can go to Whois and check on domains and websites and stuff. And there's a couple other good online programs that you can check on domains and who owns them. Like Watchtower.expose, our name and address comes up. So you can do this and check out who owns this. When you go to Whois and put in khdonate, oh my goodness, talk about secrecy. Mike just read about secrecy.
True religion in no way practices secrecy.
Yeah.
They're practicing it with this khdonate, people.
Yeah. Okay, so when you put this in, khdonate.net, register Whois server is GoDaddy.com. GoDaddy. Steal that money. Creation
Steal
date
that money.
is March 3rd, 2015, and the register is GoDaddy.com. So apparently they're using a proxy server.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is when it gets interesting. Domain status, client transfer prohibited. That means I cannot see who owns this website. So domain status. Registry registrant ID, not available from registry. Registrant name, registration private. Registrant organization, domains by proxy in Scottsdale, Arizona, which means they're going through another server.
Yep.
Country, U.S. Okay, registry admin ID, not available from registry. Admin name, registration private. Now, I don't know how in the world I'm sure there's a way of doing this, but we couldn't do a secret, of who owns our website.
Right.
We had to put our name and address. I guess that's what happens when you have money. Okay.
Yeah.
Registry tech ID, not available from registry. Tech name, registration private. Tech organization, domains by proxy, and on and on and on. You cannot find who owns this website. Okay, now before I get into the other paperwork that came with the elder's letter, I just want to warn or just raise some questions. When I go shopping online, and I go to use my debit card or credit card, I know what company I am buying from. At the top, I make sure that it has the little lock icon and it says secure before I give them my debit card information. Yeah, they've got the little lock thing on the KH Comp or KH Donate, but there's nothing else. There's no information. Okay, question. If you do not know who owns this website, why are you giving them access to your credit card, and the elders will be giving them access to your congregation bank account? You do not know who owns this. Okay?
Well, how many times have something like this been exposed in the local news media and they tell you this is a scam? Do not give anybody your personal information if you do not know who you're dealing with. But see, this is why it's easy for Watchtower to scam Jehovah's Witnesses, because they've all been taught and trained to put their explicit trust in the organization.
Exactly. So the thing is okay, the elders, just because Watchtower tells them to, they go sign up for this. Okay. When individuals use their credit card and debit card to go make their monthly donations, and you can have it set up where they would take this out monthly, which means you give them automatic access to your account. You still don't know who actually owns this website. So, our dear friend Unknown Apostate, yeah, we're all tag teaming him.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, sweetie. He called the number that is on the elder's letter. You know, the one for tech support? Okay, so this is what he wrote to me. He says, I called khdonate.net yesterday and tried to get more info about them. I acted like a JW wanting more info before I could give a donation, which is logical and reasonable. They have no address or information other than a phone number and a support email address. No names or addresses or location. I asked the lady that answered the phone about it, and she was extremely vague and would not give anything. She did say it was all JW run. The entire program was designed at Bethel in New York. I said that the letter was read at the meeting but gave no information as to the website other than it was independent. I told her to send money through a site that has no information is sketchy, regardless of who it is supposed to be. She finally broke down and said that the society does not want apostates getting any information about them and restricts information so that they cannot get it and use it against them. Too late.
Well, here again, this is how the apostate community, the XJW community, is directing watch. See, now they've gotten to the point to where they're actually fearing us, aren't they?
Well, that's what he says next. He says, interesting how scared they are of us. I told her I don't know anything about what the apostates are doing or not doing. I only know what I need to do within the congregation and have no idea what apostates do. And the thing is this is a logical concern that anybody should bring up. You know, if you are going to give your debit and credit card information to the elders, do you know if it's safe or not?
Right.
Well, when you go to the KH Donate, there's no information. No information. It's just a very generic, just set up your personal account. And they give you instructions how to do this. Now, what's interesting is how to set up your KH Donate account. And there's a little small fine print. It says a small percentage of each donation is deducted to cover bank and card processing fees before being deposited into your congregation bank account. This means that the vendor is getting a cut, which I'm sure backflows to watch out.
So now you got to ask if the guy that set it up used to work in the IT department and the vendor's getting the cut, who is this guy related to at Watchtower? Which board of directors family member is this guy?
Yeah. Okay, in addition, there's a temporary $10 monthly fee to cover service and support costs. Again, to
More
the vendor.
money. Yep.
Your congregation will not be invoiced for this fee. It will be deducted in $1 increments from the first 10 donations that are greater than $10 until the monthly fee is reached. So for someone, they're complaining about how broke they are, and yet they're going to be paying $10 a month, for this service.
Well, but wait a minute. It wasn't too terribly long ago when we was reading another one of these money things where Watchtower is telling you only keep X amount of dollars in your congregation account for operating expenses. So now, it looks like you're going to have to keep an extra $10 a month just to use this KH Donate.
Well, the thing is when you have something like this set up, and this vendor has access to your congregation account, because he does, it's
That's
all
right.
a joint bank account. When this is set up like this, any one of the parties that are part of this joint account can help themselves to this account at any time.
Yeah.
So what's to prevent the vendor from taking out a little more than just the $10 a month fee and his fees?
And who's keeping an eye on the vendor?
Yeah.
Honestly, who's keeping an eye on the vendor to make sure that he's...
So then they have a
Up and
long
out.
explanation of what your invoices are going to look like and stuff. But overview. Donations made by debit or credit card through a third-party vendor website are deposited directly into the congregation's checking account after he takes his cut, of course.
So that really makes me wonder at this point, having heard that, whether the congregation is really having enough money deposited in their checking account just to meet their monthly expenses.
Makes you wonder.
Yeah, I gotta wonder about that.
Yeah. Now, under the frequently asked questions here when making an electronic donation, this first thing, is there any fees? Whenever a credit card is used, whether in a store or online, there are processing fees. When a publisher's donation is processed, a small fee is deducted from the donation before the donation is deposited into the congregation's bank account. The congregation does not pay any separate fees. So like when you make a donation of, let's just say $10, they may get a cut of like 75 cents. So your actual donation is only like $9.25. And then the vendor, this company gets their cut. Now I know that may not sound like a lot, but let's just say it's $10 from one congregation every month. Now times that times the congregations just in the United States, and then plus the $10 monthly fee.
They're making a whole lot of money. See how
much this Iventrical, or whatever this company's name, this independent vendor, is getting. And the scary part is in the elder's letter. They said that this is being maintained, lost my paper here, by the independent vendor, which means they have access to all of this.
Yeah.
And without knowing who is in charge of this, will be managed independently by a vendor. Jehovah's Witnesses, who do you know? You don't know who has access to your credit card and your debit cards. Now the thing is here in this country, it's been on the news quite a bit, like Target stores.
Yeah.
I think it was like Home Depot or Lowe's, one of those other stores. Stores and websites and stuff are constantly being hacked.
Yeah.
And they steal your credit card and debit card information. I had it happen to me back in 2014 with Target stores. I had bought something at Target and used my debit card, and my debit card number and identity was stolen. I went through hell for 8 months. And they kept trying to charge things, and good thing I caught it and immediately, stopped all of that. But I mean, it was really horrible.
Now here's a good question. When your big stores get hacked, the news announces it immediately. Do you think if this little KH Donate account ever gets hacked, Jehovah's Witnesses, that you're going to hear this on the ABC Evening News? How long is it going to be before you people receive an elder's letter to every congregation notifying you that this account got hacked and all your money's gone?
Well, the thing is you are responsible for reporting that this has happened immediately. Well, if you don't know, if the elders, if Watchtower does not tell you that this has happened, they can drain your bank account before you even know and can, put a stop on the card. And, it depends on your bank of how much you're responsible for.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I'm pretty covered with my debit card that I had used at Target. And I didn't have to pay anything. They reimbursed me for everything that was taken out of my account. But, you got some little Mickey Mouse, website that they can't even tell you who owns this website. And I don't care if Watchtower owns it or this Inventrical or whatever, this little Mickey Mouse outfit is, this independent vendor, they have the possibility of being hacked.
Yeah. Well, who was it? Oh, I know. It was Forrest Gump. Stupid is as stupid does.
Yeah. So to use your credit card and your debit card and to give it to the elders, how do you even know that you can trust your elders? I mean, I know quite a few elders that I couldn't trust them with my daughter or,
Yeah, exactly.
$10, let alone, my debit card or credit card. My goodness.
Yeah.
So consider this a public announcement.
Public service announcement.
Public service announcement.
From Mike and Kim.
Yeah. So for those of you who are watching this, warn your friends and family that if they are going to do this, be very cautious. And, I would ask the elders questions. Okay, who is the vendor who owns this website? Because there's nothing online that you could find out who even owns this. So scary.
It is. Well, there again, how many times have we heard in the evening news, do not give you money or credit card information or debit card information to people that you don't know? Here's a very good example, Jehovah's Witnesses, of your being encouraged to set up this account to people you don't know. You think you know them. You think they're trustworthy. But really, how many years have the Watchtower Bible Tract Society been not acknowledging the fact that you've been hiding pedophiles in your congregation?
Well, the thing is even if they had Watchtower Bible Tract Society under the information for the domain name, I think that would instill a little bit of security, to the elders and the publishers. But when you go and it's like, oh, prohibited, not available, registration private, and then GoDaddy.com, that does not instill a lot of security.
No, so really they are practicing secrecy, aren't they?
Yeah.
True religion in no way practices secrecy.
So thank you so much, because Deep Throat and Unknown Apostate both helped us with this, and we might have more information coming in because I put a few little questions out to someone who is in the know and may have a connection or know of a connection. So we'll see, we'll keep everybody updated if we hear back anything.
Yeah.
But all I'm saying is just be careful. Don't give your credit or debit card information to anybody, and especially a little Mickey Mouse, website that they can't even put who owns it. Mm-hmm. Okay, I know you got something to read.
Well, I just wanted...
I'll get off my soapbox.
Well, that's okay. Yeah, I get up on my own soapbox, so you deserve to get up on it once in a while too, don't you?
Well, this just makes me so...
And she goes again.
Like you do. Well,
she learned from the best.
Yeah. Well, this just makes me so angry that the news is constantly talking about scams, and be careful who you give your private information and debit card and credit card, access to your business or your bank accounts and stuff. And then Watchtower turns around and says, oh, yes, just set up an account and give them your credit card and debit card information and make sure you get your donations in.
Yeah.
And like I said at the beginning, why aren't they using the same server and website and stuff that they use on their website?
That's right. Yeah, why did they go independent?
Yeah, why?
Yeah, exactly.
And why use a third-party vendor?
Yeah.
Why? Makes you wonder.
Yes, it does.
Now hurry, read that before I start going off again.
Okay. Going back to that same article, June 1st, 1997, same page, same column, page 6, column to the right.
I like this one.
Yeah, the first paragraph, true religion in no way practices secrecy. Worshippers of the true God have been instructed not to hide their identity or to obscure the purpose, their purpose as Jehovah's Witnesses.
And isn't that what they did on the website?
That's exactly what they did.
They're obscuring who they are.
They're obscuring. See, we don't shun, but yet the summer convention show, they do shun.
And then she tells the Unknown Apostate that they can't give out information of who owns the company because of apostates. That's obscuring who they are.
That's obscuring who they are. Okay, the next paragraph down starts off with this. If it has ever crossed your mind that Jehovah's Witnesses might be a secret cult or sect, well, doesn't this letter show them that they're secret? Well, hell yeah. In my book, it does. Okay, secret cult or sect, that was likely because you knew too little about them. Well, that's changing, isn't it? That's absolutely changing these days.
Well, if you're doing an in-depth online, search trying to find out who owns this domain or this, vendor, yeah, it's not my fault that I can't find out anything about it.
Who's hiding that information, Watchtower? Okay, so if it ever crossed your mind that Jehovah's Witnesses might be a secret cult or sect, that was likely because you knew too little about them. Now I'm going to go down to the last paragraph. Dedicated as they are to the open and public service of God, Jehovah's Witnesses will be happy to reveal the plain facts of their activity and beliefs to anyone who cares to know the facts.
Okay, Watchtower, I want to know your activity about this KH donate.
Give us the facts.
Yeah.
Right. But actually, I had a different... it fits very well with what we're doing in this letter. It honestly does. But there's another little factoid that I want to bring out here. Because It wasn't too long ago that we all got to watch governing body member David Splain try to talk about the overlapping generations and how they applied to the anointed, and how the anointed, W.H. Franz, clearly saw the sign and understood it in 1914. Now, we all know that in the Watchtower Bible Tract Society's theology, they are trying to confirm their identity as the anointed and discreet slave. That little flock that Jesus Christ talked about. So, if these were the ones prior to 1914, W.F. Franz clearly saw the sign and understood that sign, letting everybody believe that Jehovah's Witnesses were the only ones that saw that and clearly understood. Go to your Proclaimers book, Jehovah's Witnesses, because I have a serious question.
That one that nobody ever reads?
Okay, page 46. How many times have you guys read the footnote and clearly understood what the footnote says? The footnote reads, neither Barber nor Russell were the first to explain the Lord's return as an invisible presence. Much earlier, Sir Isaac Newton, 1642 through 1727, had written that Christ would return and reign invisible to mortals. Wait a minute. So then, wait. Sir Isaac Newton?
Back in the 1700s.
Back in the 16 to 17. So, I got a question. Watchtower, whose generation is overlapping Sir Isaac Newton? Because according to what you teach, W.F. Franz clearly saw the sign and understood. And you start overlapping from that point. According to this, and any thinking individual would begin to say, wait a minute, then if Sir Isaac Newton had written that Christ would return and reign invisible, then that means that he clearly saw and understood the sign back in the 1600s. That means he's of the anointed, which now throws back the conclusion of this system of things by another couple hundred years. Think about it, Jehovah's Witnesses. Think about what this says. If Sir Isaac Newton clearly saw the sign and understood it, then that means he was of the anointed.
Well, I was going to say, this was from Deep Throat, right? Because he mentions here the 1990 Watchtower, as so it has been. Jesus' disciples alone saw him depart, even as only Jehovah's Witnesses recognize his invisible return. And that's from the 1990 Watchtower, June 1st, page 11, paragraph 5. And then he has here, still other voices, not Jehovah's Witnesses, were heard, but these began to proclaim an impending invisible return of the Messiah. And this is from the 1955 Watchtower, January 1st, pages 6 and 7. And then he mentions the Proclaimers book here.
Okay, but it goes on. Okay? In 1856, Joseph Cease, a Lutheran minister in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, had written about a two-stage second advent. An invisible parousia, or presence, followed by a visible manifestation. Then in 1864, Benjamin Wilson, who published his emphatic diglot with the interlinear reading presence, not coming, or parousia. And W.B. Keith, W.B. Keith, an associate of Barber, had drawn it to the attention of Barber and his associates. So you've got to ask yourself, Jehovah's Witnesses, if all of these other men prior to Russell and W.H. Franz was pointing F.W. Freddie Franz, that nincompoop, saw this sign and was already pointing, then honestly, wasn't the Holy Spirit communicating through them also? So you're not the only true religion, and you're not the only one that was preaching that Jesus had an invisible presence, which throws Freddie Franz under the bus as being able to clearly see the sign and discern it. No, they were already preaching this long before that idiot came on earth.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you guys don't even read and comprehend your own literature. And it's interesting how easy it is these days to absolutely confuse a Jehovah's Witness with their own literature. They can't even defend it anymore. I mean, I had a lengthy conversation with Deep Throat yesterday. We were talking about some of the things that were being secretly recorded and how idiotic these Jehovah's Witnesses have become in their teaching skills. I mean, we even talked about that when we were Jehovah's Witnesses conducting Bible studies. At least we could, wrongly defend our faith, but we could still do it. Today's Jehovah's Witnesses absolutely can't do it. These guys are absolutely getting dumbed down. In fact, they become so dumb now that they're willing to surrender private information regarding their credit and debit card accounts to an organization or to a website that they know nothing about. That's how dumb you will become if you become a Jehovah's Witness.
Exactly. So, that's all I have to say about that.
Me too.
So, we hope you all have a wonderful day, and hopefully we'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, I know I said I was
Sorry,
done ranting, but I still just remembered something else I wanted to say.
Is this got your panties in a bunch?
Yeah, and maybe it's the hot weather.
Could be.
It's really hot this summer. Okay, the November 15, 2013 Watchtower study article, page 20, paragraph 17. At that time, the life-saving direction that we receive from Jehovah's organization may not appear practical from a human standpoint. All of us must be ready to obey any instructions we may receive, whether these appear sound from a strategic human standpoint or not. So just because Jehovah's organization says hand over your debit and credit card information and sign up and give everything to them, guess what? Yep, it's not logical from a human standpoint, but we got to do it anyway, just because Jehovah's organization tells us to.
They're going to obey it.
Yes. I think I'm finally done now.
All right. Bye.
Bye, everybody.